Hello and welcome to Zaprito's Pocket Build, Mage Duelist Survival. We'll be going over the basics of the build, stats, and skill point distribution. Here we can see Pocket's level 1 stats. Note that he starts with negative 15% spirit resist, has 70 DPS, 550 max health, a regen of 2 health per second, and a movement speed of 7. Now let's take a look at the build itself. We've got a variety of bullet buffs and spirit buffs, with a focus on spirit and survivability. The weapon-based items are focused on spirit-based damage, the vitality-based items are focused on survivability, and the spirit-based items are focused on damage, cooldown reduction, and ability enhancements. Generally, you'll want to build Ammo Scavenger first to start stacking spirit as soon as possible, making sure to last hit both yours and your enemy's souls. Then rush extra regen if getting harassed a lot. Otherwise, grab Enduring Spirit and Hollow Point Ward. For the most part, for the early game build, you can build in order from left to right. You'll want to pick up 1 armor after you finish your early game build, later upgrading it to the improved version. If the enemy team seems to be building mostly weapon damage or have weapon-based characters, and you are mostly getting harassed by bullets, grab the bullet armor. Otherwise, it is recommended to grab the spirit armor to compensate for Pocket's negative spirit resist. After your armor, you can follow the mid-game buys. It is recommended you use your best judgment for purchases based on your needs, as there's a fine line between doing well and having a bad game. If you are behind, I recommend grabbing improved cooldown and improved reach first, along with Spirit Lifesteal and Health Nova for survivability. From there, moving on to mid to late game items, rush superior cooldown and superior duration if behind, otherwise build left to right. You have the option to sell Mystic Burst for Spirit Strike if you like mixing in melees during your skirmishes. Otherwise, upgrade to Improved Burst. For the most part, superior cooldown goes on your ult at highest priority and cloak and second highest priority. Superior duration goes on your ult. If you make it to extreme late game, sell your Enduring Spirit, Extra Regen, and Healing Right or Health Nova in that order to pick up Soul Rebirth, Debuff Remover, and finally one of either Majestic Leap or Magic Carpet. You'll be able to get in and out real fast and pop all your cooldowns. Now let's take a look at preferred skill order. I like to start with Cloak for the most part, but in duo lanes, you can start with his Barrage skill. You put 1 point in each skill and put a second point in Barrage first to maximize cooldowns reductions. Looking at Spirit Barrage, it has a really great harass effect in that where it hits, it deals damage to units in the surrounding area in a small AoE. The 32-second cooldown on first unlock and first level are why I opt to take Cloak first. Once you get the second skill point in Barrage, you'll want to use it to harass regularly and follow up with some bullet shots or a teleport in to get an engage upon successful hits with the Barrage. You can also use it to get damage in on minions if they are grouped up. Just aim at the ground in between them. Cloak, usually what I unlock first, is both a decent harass tool and also Pocket's main way of engaging and disengaging. Out of his 2 main damaging skills, it has the lower main cooldown and unlocks its cooldown reduction faster than Barrage. Satchel is Pocket's main way of avoiding damage, preparing to disengage, or dodging important enemy abilities altogether. I like to put my first skill point into this second to get the cooldown reduction. For those unfamiliar with Pocket, his main disengage if everything is off cooldown is to memorize the length of time that Cloak is on the field, cast Cloak, then cast Satchel dodging damage, and reactivating Cloak before it expires. Pocket's ult is where things get juicy, and why this build exists. Upon activation, it applies a damage over time effect to all enemies around Pocket. Note that this damage cannot kill, but it does synergize with Spirit Lifesteal. Maxing this first is incredibly important to get the extra flat damage to the ability as well as healing reduction. With the Spirit Lifesteal, you can stay in the fight longer, especially when paired with toxic bullets and their bleed damage, to work with your team to take down your enemies. Now let's go over build and stat progression. Looking at Pocket's items and stats, after you finish your early game buys, he'll have 1059-ish health, 4.8 health regen per second, 10% spirit resist, 10% spirit lifesteal, 85 DPS, 28 spirit power, and roughly 6 bullet damage. At this point in time, you should be focusing on having your skills look like this, with 2 points in Barrage first, and then 3 points in Alt. After mid-game buys, your items and stats should look somewhat similar to this. Pocket will have around 1600 health, give or take based on your level, 8 health regen per second, 37% spirit resist, 33% spirit lifesteal, 68 spirit power, 16% cooldown reduction, an additional 25% ability range, 16% additional ability duration, 162 DPS, and 11.5 bullet damage. After finishing off the main part of the build, before extreme late-game buys, Pocket is a beast here. He's got a solid 2100 health, give or take, based on your level, 12.8 health regen per second, 37% spirit resist, 35 bullet lifesteal, 78% spirit lifesteal, 96 spirit power. Please note that spirit power noted so far will be higher due to your stacking item from early game if you are last hitting. 35% cooldown reduction, 25% ability range bonus, an additional 26% ability duration, 280 DPS, 20% faster fire rate, and 16.6 bullet damage. Finally, let's look at Pocket stats after you sell and buy your other late-game items. Assuming you are max level at this point, Pocket will have 2535 max health, 10 health regen per second, 37% spirit resist, 35 bullet lifesteal, 68% spirit lifesteal, 131 spirit power not including the stacking item bonuses, 45% cooldown reduction, 25% additional ability range, 36% extended ability duration, 20% additional fire rate, 371 DPS, and 22 bullet damage. When choosing between Leap and Carpet, keep in mind that Leap propels you forward, while Carpet has to be channeled first. Carpet will take you the furthest distance and is better for engaging, though if you can manage to get to a semi-safe location, you can use it to get out. I usually use it to join the fight, though. Leap can be used to engage or disengage and put you in an advantageous position for your ability casts. I encourage everyone to give this build a shot. I much prefer this style of build compared to straight-up bullet damage, as Pocket's survivability is increased, but he can still deal decent bullet damage due to the items chosen that utilize the spirit stat for your shots. Remember, if you're dead, you can't deal damage other than whoever you hit with your ultimate. With the utilization of Rebirth, you're sure to be able to stick to all major team fights in the late game. Thank you so much for joining me in this roughly 8-minute guide on Pocket Mage Duelist Survival. You can find my build in the game under Mage Duelist Survival by searching for it, and feel free to leave any comments or suggestions for the build below. If you want to see more content like this, please let me know. See you all in game.